The second set of questions for Skipton Castle. Again, just like with the previous question, find where it tells you about physical features, just do that around it so you think that I don't have to worry about that. Now I'd like to highlight and annotate the key parts of the question. Pause, come back and check your answers. Okay, so again, it's the first question is when and why people first created it, but it's mixed up in a bit more of a difficult question because it's also linked with the development of the site over time. So the development of the site over time has made it impossible for historians to understand when and why people first created it. How far is this true for your site? So what this question is saying to you is, can historians, from looking at the site, can they work out when and why people first created it? Yes or no? Now, Skipton Castle is a really, really interesting one. It's still a castle. It was built as a castle. However, some of the development does mean that you could actually struggle to find out maybe when it was first created. So, for example, you could say no, it's still got, or its original purpose is still visible. You could say yes. Oh, can't spell yes right now. Yes, there has been some loss. If you think about some of the defensive features, so loss of defensive features. You could also think about, well, what was it originally built as? It wasn't straight away built as that big, huge castle, was it? So that original motte and bailey has actually been lost. So turn over and let's have a go at answering or planning your answer to this question. So pause, come back and check your answers. Okay, so point 1, we're going to go with no. Original purpose still evident. So stone, medieval castle. Arrow slits still there. Round drum towers. And then in the link we would explain the castle was originally built for defence, and despite later changes, the original purpose is still evident. Yes, loss of some defensive features. So e.g. road building, the modern road building, and the moat being filled in around Tudor times. This makes it difficult to understand the extent of the defensive purpose of the castle. Another one, yes. So loss of the initial wooden bailey. So 1135 upgraded from wood to stone. This makes it difficult to understand, because the original kind of Motte and Bailey was where the Lord would have lived, so this makes it difficult to understand the original castle and how it housed the Lord and his staff. You could talk about, for example, how no, it's still in the same location, the defensive features are still there, and therefore that helps us to actually still understand why they chose that location. You could also say no, it's still in the same position as it was, which is still on the site of Roman roads, still on the site of important roads, and therefore we can still see why they chose to use that for trade. So a number of different points that you could use for this one. Like I said, it all depends on what you feel most comfortable with and which knowledge you have in your brain at the time of the exam. You will find with these Skipton questions that you are repeating yourself on some of the questions. You'll be using the same points. It's absolutely fine. There is only so much that you can write about this site. So next question, highlight, annotate, pause, come back and check your answers. So same as before, let's just take out that use the physical features bit. So changed over time. So changed over time, we can use the whole history. And it's explain why the features of your site have changed over time. So not how, why. So you should be identifying the reasons why they made changes to the site. So number of changes, we've got like wood to stone. Well, why did they make that? Improve defence. There's a number of different changes that you can use for improving defence. Tudor wing, octagonal tower, long gallery. Why was that added? To make it a more comfortable home. And, modern day. If you can use the modern day is a really good one to use because you've been there and you've seen it. So you could add for tourism. Okay, so turn over, see if you can have a go at planning your answer to these questions, then come back and check. Okay, so point number 1, improve defence. 1135, wood to stone, drum towers built, arrow slits added. So why did he do those things to improve defence? Makes the castle stronger. What's happening at the time? Newer techniques and weapons are developed, meaning that the defence features need upgrading, or the defensive features need upgrading. Which was our next point? Oh yeah, more comfortable home. So if you talk about specifically with this bit like the Tudor wing and what's added there, that gives you a really good link to explain why they added the Tudor wing. So long gallery built, octagonal tower built, changes made to gardens. So explaining why were these changes made. Lord Clifford's son married Henry VIII's niece, Lady Eleanor Brandon. She was used to more comfortable royal palaces. So Skipton was upgraded for her to live there. Used to more comfortable royal palaces, Skipton was upgraded to live there. Apologise if you hear any weird squeaky noises or bangings. I'm doing this at home and the dog's around and she's being annoying. She wants attention, but I'm busy. Last point, we said tourism. So we've got grotto, changed to ticket office, toilet and lunchroom at the back of castle grounds, workshops, now gift shop and cafe. Why was this change made? When Skipton became a tourist attraction, facilities needed to be provided to ensure that visitors were comfortable and also to earn more money for the castle. We all know Mrs. Clough loves her day out with the ice creams. Bet she's spent at least 20 quid over the years that we've been going. So 3 points there. Again, you could look at other ones. The slighting of the castle. What happened there? Why did it happen? You could talk about, the prison's a very niche one, but the prison was added. Why? Because King John said that all castles in the country had to have prisons. Oh, wrong one. So, last one on this section. Annotate and highlight, pause, come back and check your answers. Okay, so I'm going to take out this bit again. It's that key bit. It seems to be a bit of a theme. Why was it built? Some kind of change over time or throughout history, and then one specific period. Now, I can't guarantee that that will happen, but from the two we've seen so far, that seems to be, a pattern from the past. So, one period in the history of your site. So you can only look at one period. We've said medieval, we've said Tudor, English Civil War, and modern period. So how far was your site typical of its type at this time? Now, if you've watched the Content 2 video, I do identify two real key areas where this is best to kind of write about. Either medieval or English Civil War, okay, because there's lots of different things happen in those time periods. I think for ease, I would go with medieval. Now, if you keep it kind of broad with medieval, the medieval period by some historians is also classed as kind of ending with the War of the Roses. So you can get the War of the Roses under the medieval period. So typical, we've got Motte and Bailey. Typical, we've got the developments. Oh, I really can't spell today. Developments. We've got developments for defence. We've mentioned it before. Wood to stone, drum towers, arrow slits. And then we've got not typical, War of the Roses. Okay, so turn over, pause, plan, come back and check your answers. Okay, so we'll go with typical, original design. So, one reason why I agree that my site was typical of its type at this time is its original design. Skipton Castle was originally built as a Motte and Bailey castle. Wood and earth. Now here we explain why it's typical. After the Norman conquest, castles were built across England in the Motte and Bailey style. In the same style as Skipton, meaning that it is typical. Second one we said, typical, improvement to defences. We've got wood to stone, 1135. We've got drum towers added, arrow slits. Okay, again, explanation. Why is it typical? Very similar to what we said above about why they changed. So, as medieval weapons improve, lords improve the defences of their castles. For example, Pontefract and Sandal, which are both close by-ish Yorkshire castles, go from wood to stone. Final point, not typical. And our not typical point is going to be role in the War of the Roses. So Skipton is not physically involved. No battles or garrisons. However, they do support the Lancastrians. So the family itself get involved, the family go out and do battle, but there's nothing actually happening at Skipton. Why is this not typical? Well, Pontefract and Sandal are both bases for soldiers during the Wars of the Roses. Okay, so let's have a go at the final lot of question annotation. Pause, highlight, annotate. Okay, so we're going to take out this bit. Why did people first start using your site? Again, it's that first purpose of the site. And exactly like the other ones, defense, control, and trade. So, turn over. One reason why people first started using your site is defence. Skipton Castle is built on a rocky outcrop. And has the Ellerbeck running behind. The castle was built in this location as a castle to protect against the Scots who attacked from the north. Second point, control. It's built on a hill. It overlooks the surrounding area. After the Norman conquest, Robert de Romilly was given the land by William the Conqueror to help control the local Saxon population. Okay, and then finally, another reason why did people first start using the site? For trade. We've got that cross section of the two Roman roads. Tadcaster to Ribchester. This is a trading route, and it means the Lord can access and control trade. Okay. Next question. Highlight and annotate. Okay, let's take out this bit here. Choose a significant time. So again, once a time period in your site's past. How far did this change the site, its people, or its uses? So again, it's about change. You can talk about the site itself, you can talk about the people, you can talk about its uses. I would recommend that this time period you go for the English Civil War. Okay. The reason for that is you can talk about how it changes the site and its uses. Okay. So you could talk about initially how it becomes a garrison for the king. You could talk about how it's changed the site itself through slighting. And then you could talk about how Lady Anne Clifford again changes the site itself and the use of the site. So let's plan. So I would make sure you do this chronologically so you can, in your development, give a little bit of context what's happening at Skipton Castle. So English Civil War, garrison for the king. So Skipton Castle prepares for war, cannons set up, men stationed within the castle, church taken within defences. So what is the change to this? So it changes the use of the site. It's a garrison, first time since the medieval period. No longer just a home. Then talk about the slighting. So at the end of the Civil War, when the some of the royalists rise again. Skipton and 6 other castles are slighted. Roof is removed. Walls are made lower. So this is a change to the physical site, as it is no longer its original height, and it is uninhabitable. So, after it's slighted, it can't even be used as a home anymore. Final point, Lady Anne's rebuilding. So in the development, what does she do? Adds a pitched roof, adds windows, doesn't rebuild the height, thins the walls, and she adds some decorative features. How does this change the site or its uses? It can no longer be used for defensive purposes and is purely a home. Okay, final question. I do feel like I've been doing these forever. Keep stopping and starting and coming back. So this one does not have the use the physical features of your site bit. So again, highlight and annotate. I'll see you in a second. Okay. So how far can historians use the physical remains at your site to tell the story of the site or its people? Now, I think Skipton Castle is absolutely perfect for this, because you can actually look at the castle itself and see its story. So you've got the medieval section and the bottom half with the arrow slits and the dungeon / prison and the Great Hall. You've then got the Tudor wing, which tells the story of luxury, prosperity, royal connection. And then you've got slighting and Lady Anne's rebuilding, which tells the story of the end, well, its role in the Civil War and the end of Skipton for defence. And you then could also use, how it's now a tourist attraction. So, ticket booth, toilets, keep mentioning the toilets in that gift shop. These are genuine answers that you can use. Just because you've been there and seen it doesn't mean it's not part of its history. So have a go at planning your answer to this final question. So, lower half of medieval castle. So historians could use the physical remains of the lower half of the medieval castle. There are arrow slits, drum towers with skirts, and also some remaining curtain wall. Historians could use this to tell about the defensive original purpose of the castle. Octagonal tower and long gallery. It's the Tudor development. Well, we could just call that the Tudor development actually. Tudor development as your point. So you've got the Tudor apartments, which are inside the conduit court, and it's kind of above where Lady Anne Clifford improved the kitchens. Addition of long gallery and octagonal tower. Historians could use this to tell the story of Skipton's connections to royalty and the extent of their wealth and influence. Let's go for slighting and Lady Anne's rebuilding as our final point. So again, talk about the slighting, roof removed, walls lowered by parliamentarians. Lady Anne rebuilds the roof, but pitched, so it's slanted, it can't hold cannon. Adds windows, thins the walls, adds decoration to the conduit court, improves the kitchens, etc. So historians could use this to tell the story of Skipton's role within the English Civil War and its change from its use of defence for the last time. So after the English Civil War and after Lady Anne rebuilds, it's no longer used for defence. Okay. So roof removed, walls lowered. She rebuilds the roof, but it's pitched, add windows, thins the walls, adds decoration to the conduit court. Could use to tell the story of Skipton's role within the English Civil War and its change of use from defence for the last time. So it's almost like from medieval all the way up to the English Civil War, it always was kind of defensive when needed. But after the English Civil War and Lady Anne's rebuilding, it's no longer used for defence. I really, really hope you found this useful. Good luck if I don't see you before your exam. I'm sure I will. Don't forget you can head over to quizzes and test your knowledge a little bit more. If there's any questions you have about this revision or any of the questions that you might want to write up and plan, please do send them over to your teacher. Thank you for watching and we'll see you soon.